All right. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our webinar, Perfecting the Process, Data Cleanup for Enterprise. A big thanks to for joining us today. We're excited to present some information that we hope you will find valuable. Judging by the popular response to this topic, many of you are interested in performing data cleanup for your organization. Integro has a team of awesome people that are experts in this area, so rest assured you are in the right place and part of a group here today that has many of the same questions and concerns as you. You are highly encouraged to use the Q&A feature on your screen. Attendees are anonymous, so please don't be afraid to ask questions, and we will not call you out by name. Also, there are 2 poll questions, one at the beginning of the webinar and one at the end. Additionally, we welcome your feedback, so please take our brief survey at the conclusion of this webinar. With that, I'm proud to introduce Emil O'Con and Chris McHenry. Emil is a certified project management expert in strategic planning for information technology, and Chris McHenry has helped found Integro in 1995 and is a trusted information governance and content services expert. Chris, I'll let you take it from here.
Thanks, Justin. So today we're going to talk about your data cleanup process using a tool called ACT. But first we want to talk about why you want to clean up your data. So first off, we hear oftentimes customers will say, well, storage is cheap, but really that's not the case. We have one customer, for example, spending $2 million per month on storage. And so just taking away a fraction of that, maybe 30%, can be a significant savings and ROI for our data cleanup process and program and solution. Also, cleaning up your data will eliminate that clutter that makes finding information so difficult. You often run into duplicate files and conflicting information, that kind of thing. So getting that clutter out of the way will help you find your data better. And then we encourage you to consolidate that and organize that remaining important data in a meaningful way. The risk of old data is risky in terms of being taken out of context. With things that are going on in today's world more than ever, taking information out of context can irreparably damage a company's brand, and it's just not worth the risk of keeping that raw. Finally, data breaches are more and more common, and they are extremely costly for organizations. Poneman's survey puts the cost of data breaches at $150 per record, and the average cost in 2019 was around $4 million, and it's going up as we speak. So it's very important. A lot of key drivers why we want to clean up our data. So with that, Justin, let's queue up a poll here.
All right, coming right up. All right, everybody should be able to see the poll question on their screen now. Please go ahead and check off your answers there.
Yeah, so we're talking about what's your biggest fear or concern with the data cleanup. So, some of the key things that we've heard are things like not knowing where to start and just often the fear of taking action or resource constraints, showing ROI value to your organization, or some of the common concerns that we run across. So take a few minutes there and finish up your poll. And okay. Looks like we have some coming in here. Justin, do you think we can present the results?
Yes, sir. So we have a few people still answering the poll question here, so we'll give it a couple more seconds. And here we go. All right, so we can share the results here.
These are very interesting results. Yeah, because this is typically what we see when we engage with an organization about executing their data cleanup project. So let me talk about some of these common hurdles and what makes it difficult for organizations to get started. The most common one really is not knowing where to start. And that stems from the fact that a lot of organizations do not have a deep understanding of what their content is, where their content reside, what kind of content they have, how content is being generated, who's consuming the content, and things as such. So that really is a big hurdle for most organizations on getting started on the data cleanup. And we will address that later in this webinar as of how you can use or develop your content profile to gain a better understanding of what you have, gain more courage in acting on your ROT, and really be able to successfully execute your data cleanup. Now, the other question is, okay, now I know what I have. How do I identify what is ROT and what is not ROT? The Integro Product Act comes out of the box with predefined ROT policies that you can customize based on the nature of your organization. And we can talk about that a little bit more later. Now, the fear of taking action really is interrelated with the previous two, not knowing where to start or not being able to confidently identify your ROT. Once you have a better understanding of what your content is and you have defined your ROT policy, the Integro Act product allows you to simulate what your end results are. And that is going to lead you to, one, address what your resource constraints are, or at least anticipate what your resource constraints are, both from the cost, people, and time perspective, and also will help address how to overcome getting executive sponsorship. If you have something that can be visualized and you can simulate what your expected end results are, you can easily gain better sponsorship from your organization's leadership. So let's talk about, Chris, how does Integro address most of these common hurdles?
Yeah, good question. So with our ACT tool, we can quickly scan your file share, collecting the metadata, and develop that content profile that you spoke about, Emil. And that enables us to automatically apply your ROT policies to the data so that you can simulate the results. And with this analysis in hand, you can set those attainable goals you're talking about, those realistic goals for your organization, and track what can be possible, really. The scan results really help you build that ROI case for your executive leadership. And we, as I mentioned, we automatically apply sophisticated metadata policies to the content that help you take action, and you can customize those policies for your organization. And then finally, we delegate and track the review of that very small percentage of the content that needs a human touch or review, and make that very quick and easy for those reviewers. So we've helped organizations, large and small, with their data cleanups, and we've got the people, process, and technology at Integro to get you there.
And Chris, I want to share with you one real life experience with a client that we're currently engaged with. We helped them get their data cleanup project started. We started with the typical manual process. We did apply the Integro data cleanup framework, so that helped us a lot in getting started and getting quick results. But we quickly realized that using the traditional way, which is creating a manifest of files that needs to be reviewed, putting that in a spreadsheet, sending it out to your data reviewers and collecting that back is not a sustainable way for big organizations to perform their data cleanup. So real metrics is that after we did the pilot and then we implemented ACT at this organization, we immediately saw from the project team time commitment alone over 60% reduction on a monthly basis. We piloted about 4,000 users and we were spending about 200, the project team was spending about 200 hours managing that process. And then we went on an enterprise-wide data cleanup, managing over 20,000 users. And still, the time was half of what we were spending during the pilot. So it does prove that using an intuitive and a tool that is not just all about technology, it comes with a data cleanup, a proven data cleanup framework that you can easily relate to and execute, helps your data cleanup program.
Yeah, that's great, Emil. That's such a common hurdle is, you try to execute these projects and get really hung up on coordinating that data review. It's such a
Mhm.
time-consuming process. It's great to see that,
Right.
that
So,
reduction with ACT.
right. So now, once you've defined what your, once you have a better understanding of what your content is, it is very important also that we set realistic goals. So let's go and talk about setting realistic goals first. Very first thing is don't try to chew more than you bite more than you can chew, or don't boil the ocean. Target the low hanging fruit and gain quick wins. Two things that's coming out of that is that one, you are showing progress immediately, which you can continue to socialize to your leadership. And two, it keeps the momentum of the project going forward. If you try to boil the ocean right off the bat, especially if this is your first attempt of performing a data cleanup program, the typical result is that it gets stalled because people get overwhelmed. So shoot for what you think you can achieve and keep track of your progress and show immediate results. That's one thing that will keep your program going forward. All right, let's talk about developing content profile, which is addressing the issue of not being able to know where to start. So Chris, in here, the goal of developing a content profile, as I mentioned earlier, is just to have a better understanding of what content you have, who's creating the content, who's consuming the content, is the content in the right place? How does ACT address this?
Good question. So as I mentioned earlier, we're scanning the metadata, and that enables us to quickly get through a large number of files. We can do 1 million files an hour and scan the metadata and scale out the process as needed to go even faster. But by collecting that metadata, we can apply policies that define the content profile and show you in an intuitive way what you have in your organization and how to go about tackling it.
Right, right. And now what we do with that metadata information that we collected is to apply our ROT policies against that information. Out of the box, ACT will provide you a set of most commonly used ROT policies, or how we're defining ROT. All of these ROT policies are 100% customizable. So you can start with what comes out of the box, see how many of that or how that applies or how relevant that is to your organization. And we can definitely help you tweak that and customize that so it fits the nature of your organization. One thing that is really unique and a big differentiator with Integro ACT is the fact that it comes with its proven framework on how to look at ROT. So one thing that we do once we've identified what is ROT is we have this concept of assigning a probability level to that ROT content. What we do is we categorize them into high or medium probability ROT. The idea there is that high and medium ROT, most likely you can apply default action to that without engaging your data, your end users. So what we typically do there is we can either delete it right off the bat if you are really confident and you want to be more aggressive about your data cleanup program, or we can move those content into an archive location. An archive here is loosely used. It's simply can be as simple as another directory in your server that is locked down so that users cannot access that content, and retain that content in that for an X period of time that is, again, highly customizable. You can define how long you want to keep that content in the archive location, after which, if no one claims it, then you get more, you'll be more confident that that content no longer has value. It's not being used. No one's looking for it. You can go ahead and delete it. Now, what do we do with low probability ROT? That's the content that we need end user engagement. But as you can see, as depicted in this dashboard here, is that very small percentage of what we identify as ROT is then going to be reviewed by your end user. That addresses the concern or one of the hurdles we identified earlier about time commitment. So your resources, the people who need to review it, and the amount of time that they have, that's one of the major hurdles really for organizations to embark on this. There are a lot of other priorities out there, and data cleanup typically is just one other thing that you have to do in your organization. ACT provides you an intuitive and simple user interface where your user can view what they have to review. And again, keep in mind, this is just a subset of what we've already identified as ROT. So we're minimizing your end user engagement. And the UI can provide you some features such as applying filters so that you can review your content in groups, like for example, by directory or by specific folder name, and also sort it in the different ways and manners that would facilitate that review process. And all you have to do is click on the files, either in bulk or individual files that's listed to mark it for deletion. And what we've seen is that using ACT, this process of data review only takes 30 minutes or less for each data reviewer.
Hey guys, so we're about the halfway point here, and I do have a couple of questions coming in here. I'd like to field one of those. How fast does the system process data?
Yeah, good question. We're able to process up to 1 million files on a single server per hour. So we can scale the process across multiple servers to get even faster progress on the scanning side of things.
Right. And one thing to add to that is that as we are scanning, we are applying the ROT policies that you've already developed. So real time, you're getting feedback from the system as to how much of the content I'm scanning are being identified as ROT. Two things comes out of that. One is that it gives you a visual of, okay, how much data am I about to act on? And then two, simulate and estimate the kind of effort that is needed to actually act on your ROT content. Talking about that, it is also important for us to keep track of our progress. So ACT also provides you a very simple workflow. You scan, you archive, you delete, and real time as you're acting your content, you can see your progress. This is again another tool that you can use to keep socializing the progress of your data cleanup project and really maintain that sponsorship from your organization's leadership. Now, Chris, a lot of companies have started data cleanup using other technologies and tools. How can we leverage that investment using ACT? I think you got on mute, Chris.
Emil, go ahead and run with it until he gets his audio back.
Right. So this is one thing that we kept in mind while we were developing the ACT product, is that we know that a lot of organizations already have invested on other products out there, leading tools for file analysis. So ACT is built to leverage that investment. We can integrate with most of those tools out there in the market and collect whatever that your existing tools have already harvested, and we run that information into ACT to provide you the ROT analysis that we've shown you earlier today. So it's not you're not throwing away any kind of your investment. We're just enhancing the toolbox that you have using ACT, and ACT will provide you the common, not common, but the easy and relatable workflows that you can easily roll out in your organization. So let's talk about where most people are in the data cleanup program. I think that we have another poll there, Justin.
Yeah, we do have one more poll question here for everybody. So let me get that put up here. Okay, you should be able to see the poll question on your screen now. Take a few moments to, we'll give you a few moments to fill that out, and Emil, you can continue on.
As I mentioned earlier, many organizations have attempted and are in the middle of, but it's not always a very smooth process. So it's good for us to understand where you are in your data cleanup journey and see how Integro can possibly assist you. Justin, do we have results coming in?
We do. Right now, it looks like a little more than half of the people responding here, so 52% are evaluating their options, and then it's kind of split evenly between in progress but struggling or experienced but looking to optimize or improve. So there's some votes still coming in here, so we'll give this a couple more seconds, and then we'll close it off. And thanks to everybody for participating in these poll questions. All right, let's share the results here.
Okay, so I'm not very surprised with the poll results. This is where a lot of people get stuck, evaluating your options. And this is, again, going back to those 5 common hurdles they have. So think about this. It's not just the technology that you have to evaluate. A lot of people or a lot of organizations look at data cleanup as a purely technical project. It is not. You need to come in with a proven framework and methodology on how to execute the data cleanup. You need to be able to simulate what you're about to do. That really eliminates that fear of getting started with your data cleanup. And if you're in progress but struggling, let us know how we can help you. Hopefully what we presented here in the brief 20 minutes or so about what features and benefits you can gain from ACT would be able to address whatever pain points you're experiencing today. So Chris, how do we want to end this? What do we want everyone who attended this to get from this webinar? Yeah, I think Chris is still having a little bit of an audio issue. But really, our goal here is to help your organization overcome the fear of engaging or starting your data cleanup project. As we mentioned before, understanding your content better allows you to get started somewhere. It will point you to the right places, whether you want to go big, you want to go small, you want to do a pilot. That really starts from there, understanding what you have. Be able to simulate and refine the process is another thing, because that addresses, it helps you plan ahead as far as like how big of a project team I need. Do I need an outside consultant or an outside organization to help me with this? And the simulation of what your end results are allows you to get that executive sponsorship. And always engage your users, right? Doing a pilot is always a good thing because you get feedback. No one starts with a data cleanup project with a perfect approach. You always come in with what you think is best, but ACT allows you with the simulation to refine that. That's the one thing that it's not a one shot. It allows you to keep looking at your data, helps you in analyzing your data before you hit that proverbial enter key to start deleting your content. So
Nice.
Justin,
I have a couple of more questions actually coming in here. So here's one for you. If we already have a file analysis tool, can ACT assist with the document review portion?
absolutely. That's one of the key points that we focused on when we were developing the product. The ability to designate the review process. Most products out there, the review process is limited to very few, or it's very difficult to split up or segment that content to be reviewed by a bigger audience.
Excellent. Okay. Let me look here. One more question for you. We have a little bit of time left, so let's look at this one here. How do you prevent deleting files that might still have value?
Yeah, when I want to go back to the high, medium, and low probability, the reason that is part of our data cleanup framework is because we want to give you that cushion. Like you can't just go ahead and delete. If you are uncertain that files may still have business value, but you want to prove that out, what ACT provides you is the ability to move that content into an archive location first for a period of time, 90 days, 30 days, whatever makes you feel more confident or that gives you that security blanket. And then after that time period, it's been in the archive location and no one has claimed the file, then that gives you better confidence that you can go ahead and delete that content.
Excellent. Okay. Thanks, Emil. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Chris, I'm sorry that you're having some audio issues over there. I did check things on my dashboard over here on my side, and everything looks good. I don't know, there's some technical issue. I'm sorry about that. Emil, any closing remarks from you? I think we're getting close to the end of our time here, and if you have anything that you want to summarize or say, that would be this would be a good time to do that.
Based on the results of the last poll, it sounds like many of you could benefit from Integro's experience, as well as the ACT product that we've developed specifically to address overcoming your hurdles and your fear of performing data cleanup. So please reach out to us and we can put together a personalized demo and walk you through the process, give you a high level overview of how we're going to address your current pain points or how we're going to get you started in your data cleanup journey.
Nice. All right. Well, I think we can wrap it up here then, guys. Thank you for your time. Chris, thanks for your time. I know you can still hear me over there, even though we can't hear you. Thanks a lot. Emil, very informative. Thanks for your time as well. And a big special thanks to everyone that took time out of their busy day today to attend. And of course, we hope that you got a lot out of this, that you see the value in the product that we're providing. And please, if you are interested in learning more, reach out to us, give us a call, visit our website, schedule a personalized demo. We have that option online, so that's always a good thing to do. We're absolutely willing to step up and work with you to understand more about your specific situation and figure out a solution that'll work. With that, we're going to conclude our webinar. Thanks again for everyone for joining, and don't forget there's a survey here at the very end. We greatly appreciate you guys taking that survey. It helps us to deliver these webinars and continue to improve the experience. So please do that, and we appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.